Dr.
Brother,
Oshola.
yes, Brother Anthony is ready.
Okay, all right. So, Brother Anthony, let's go. You can help me take 5 verses. You can come to the microphone and take Acts chapter 23, 5 verses. Thank you. Can turn it around for him.
Let's hear the word of God. Acts chapter 23, verse number 1 to verse number 5.
Yes.
Then Paul, looking earnestly at the council, said, Men and brethren, I have lived all in good conscience before God until this day. And the high priest Ananias commanded those who stood by him to strike him on the mouth. Then Paul said to him, God will strike you, you whitewashed wall, for you seek to judge me according to the law. And do you command me to be struck contrary to the law? And those who stood by said, Do you revile God's high priest? Then Paul said, I did not know, brethren, that he was the high priest. For it is written, You shall not speak evil of a ruler of your people. Amen.
Thank you, Dr. Anthony. Who else to quickly take the next 5 verses? I'll be very quick with my presentation. So
I'll take 6.
okay.
I'm reading from the NKJV.
Okay.
But when Paul perceived that one part were Sadducees and the others Pharisees, he cried out in the council, Men and brethren, I am a Pharisee, the son of a Pharisee. Concerning the hope and resurrection of the dead, I am being judged. And when he had said this, a dissension arose between the Pharisees and the Sadducees, and the assembly was divided. Verse 8. For Sadducees say there is no resurrection and no angel or spirit, but the Pharisees confess both. Verse 9, then there arose a loud outcry, and the scribes of the Pharisees' party arose and protested, saying, We find no evil in this man. But if a spirit or an angel has spoken to him, let us not fight against God. Verse 10 says, Now when there arose a great dissension, the commander, fearing lest Paul might be put to pieces by them, commanded the soldiers to go down and take him by force from among them and bring him to the barracks.
Thank you so much. Sister Ma, level 2.
11 from the NIV. The following night, the Lord stood near Paul and said, Take courage, as you have testified about me in Jerusalem, so must you also testify in Rome. 12. The next morning, some Jews formed a conspiracy and bound themselves with an oath not to eat or drink until they had killed Paul. More than 40 men were involved in this plot. They went to the chief priests and the elders and said, We have taken a solemn oath not to eat anything until we have killed Paul. 15. Now then, you and the Sanhedrin petition the commander to bring him before you on the pretext of wanting more accurate information about this case. We are ready to kill him before he gets here. Shall I proceed?
No, another volunteer, 15 to 20.
Dr.
Online or in the auditorium. Online, you can indicate so that I can call you. Yeah, but I think Dr. Shola is ready, right?
Yes, 16.
16 says, And when Paul's son heard of their lying in wait, he went and entered into the castle and told Paul. Then Paul called one of the centurions unto him and said, Bring this young man unto the chief captain, for he had a certain thing to tell him. So he took him and brought him to the chief captain and said, Paul, the prisoner, called me unto him and prayed me to bring this young man unto thee, who had something to say unto thee. Then the chief captain took him by the hand and went with him aside privately and asked him, What's that thou hast to tell me? And he said, The Jews have agreed to desire thee, that thou wouldest bring down Paul tomorrow into the council, as though they would inquire somewhat of him more Perfect.
Thank you. Another one, person 21 to 25. Any volunteer online? Are we all driving online? Nobody to volunteer? In the auditorium, 21 to 25. Any other volunteer?
Yes. Confidence.
Yes, confidence. Thank
Okay.
you.
21 to 25.
Yes.
But do not thou yield unto them, for they lie in wait for him, of them more than 40 men, which have bound themselves with an oath that they will neither eat nor drink till they have killed him. And now they are ready, looking for a promise from thee. So the chief captain then let the young men depart and charged him, See thou tell no man that thou shalt shew these things to me. And then he called unto him 2 centurions, saying, Make ready 200 soldiers to go to Caesarea, and horsemen 70, and spearmen 200 at the 3rd hour of the night. And provide them beasts that they may set Paul on, and bring him safe unto Felix the governor. And he wrote a letter this manner.
Thank you. 26 to 31.
I'm online, 26 to
Please
31.
go ahead. Thank you. Thank you. Right.
Claudius Lysias, to His Excellency, Governor Felix, greetings. This man was seized by the Jews and they were about to kill him, but I came with my troops and rescued him, for I learned that he's a Roman citizen. I wanted to know why he was being accused, so I brought him to the Sanhedrin. I found out that the accusation had to do with questions about their law, but there was no charge against him that deserved death or imprisonment. When I was informed of a plot to be carried out against the man, I sent him to you at once. I also ordered his accusers to present to you their case against him. 31. So the soldiers, carrying out their orders, took Paul with them during the night and brought him as far as Antipatris.
Thank you. Volunteer to take the last one, 32 to 35.
Yeah, from the auditorium, yes.
Yes, Brother Shem, yes.
Right. Verse 32.
Yes.
The next day, they let the cavalry go on with him while they returned to the barracks. When the cavalry arrived in Caesarea, they delivered the letter to the governor and handed Paul over to him. The governor read the letter and asked what province he was from. Learning that he was from Cilicia, he said, I will hear your case when your accusers get here. Then he ordered that Paul be kept under guard in Herod's palace. And that's the last verse.
Thank you so much, Brother Tim. Okay, Brother Shola, can we have the presentation or I should share?
No, I'll share it.
Okay. All right. So I titled this message, When God Stands by You, Lessons from Acts chapter 23. So I'm going to focus on wisdom, on strength, and on staying true. And the key verse for me is when God appeared to Paul and told him, be of good cheer, as you have testified of me in Jerusalem, so you must also bear witness in Rome. Acts chapter 23, verse 11. You know, God came to strengthen him. And revelation is so key. It can keep us going. And maybe I should quickly share this story. When I was getting married in Nigeria 25 years ago, and I was planning my wedding, and the wedding was to take place in North Central in Nigeria, specifically in a city called Ilorin. And I was going to move from Lagos. I was living in Lagos to Ilorin. If I remember at that correctly, it's about 6 or 7 hours drive from Lagos. And I was just thinking, and then my parents were in another city in the Southwest. So there were going to be a lot of movement. And at that time, the roads were very, very bad. And a lot of people committed to coming for my wedding. And then I had a tendency to get worried. But I remember clearly, God spoke to me. He said, Leye, this wedding will be smooth and seamless. And because God dropped that word in my spirit, that kept me going. My best man was to come from another place, from South, right? So because God dropped that word, I just went to sleep, right? And I remember a day before, so I was there, it was 2 events, Friday engagement and Saturday the wedding. And on the Friday, I have not seen my best man. And he was meant to come on Friday. But because God has dropped that word, I was not perturbed. So I know the importance of God giving you a word that it is going to be well. So in this particular story, God strengthened Paul and told him that, look, everything will be well. I mean, just like you, maybe you want to, you're meant to travel, and God gives you a word that, look, that journey is already smooth. And you already see a vision of you, doing a successful mission. And then you get to the plane, and then there's turbulence. Serious turbulence. I'm sure you won't be worried if you have actually believed that word. So this word sustained Paul. All right, next slide, please. So we know the background to this, to the book of Acts, what we have read so far. We started in chapter 1, where we saw the birth of the church, and we saw how they faced persecution and how they grew stronger in the midst of persecution, and how they took the gospel for the first time to Samaria, to the Gentiles. And then we saw how Paul was converted. We saw how the gospel was unstoppable. We saw how every barrier became a bridge. Next. Next slide. Okay, so in verse 1, Paul declared that I have lived in all good conscience before God. When I read that place, I said, you mean, what is Paul saying here? The same Paul that was there, witnessing to this death of Stephen, saying that I've lived in all good conscience. What did it mean? So I tried to study deeper. And then I realized that what Paul was saying was that, look, I have kept my integrity. Even when he was killing, supporting those who were killing Stephen, even when he was doing the wrong things. One thing you could not accuse Paul of at that time was that he had no, how do I put it? He had he was not two-faced. Let me just use a modern way of saying it. He had no dichotomy. He had his heart was pure. Even though he was doing the wrong thing, maybe the best way to capture it was that he was sincerely wrong. He had a pure heart. And this is what he was saying here. And I was thinking about it, that how many of us today can say that we have a clear conscience? How many of us, if we are to say, okay, brother, can we play all the things you've been thinking about throughout this week, or all the private things you've done in your private corner? Can we display it to the fellowship members? How many of us will say, okay, you can go ahead? But Paul was a person that would say, go ahead. Not that he was right all the time, but he was an open book. He had integrity, and that integrity gave him courage. It wasn't that he was perfect. It wasn't that he was committing anything, but his motive was pure. His motive was pure. So may the Lord help us to live with integrity. and peace before God. Lesson 2, let's move on quickly. Then the other one is walking in wisdom. Did you see how he played the Pharisees and Sadducees against each other? You know, as Christians, we're supposed to still walk in wisdom. We're not supposed to be dumb, right? I mean, just like I was thinking about a modern way to do it today. It's just like if two people are against you and you are before them, and you could see that one is a Liverpool fan, and the other one is what are the teams now?
Arsenal.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. All you need to say is that, Dr. Shola is doing this against me because I'm an Arsenal fan. The other person would immediately. So that's what Paul did here. I'm just trying to say it say it in a humorous way, right? That was what Paul did here, right? He was able to, because they were united against him. And the moment he said he was a Pharisee, he said, I'm a Pharisee, the son of a Pharisee. He just divided the crowd. Next, I need to be fast now. Next lesson. God's providence in adversity. You know, again, this story, when Jesus appeared to Paul saying, be of good cheer. Do you know that it was because of this issue that the gospel got to Rome? Because at the end of the day, Paul was sent to Rome. He was guided. He was sponsored. He was through this same problem. So sometimes I've realized that one of the ways God speaks to us is through our pain, through our problem. You are going in a direction, God will just bring a problem that will redirect you. And with the benefit of insight later, you will see that all things work together for good. Next one. Next lesson. Lesson 4. Okay. Strength to carry on. I think I've already spoken so well on this, right? So I'm going to move on to the next slide in the interest of time. So my closing thought is that when God stands by you, no opposition can shake you. The presence of God is golden, is wonderful. You know, Moses said to God, look, if your presence doesn't go with me, then I don't go anywhere. The presence of God enough is sufficient, even if the problem is still there. And then God gives integrity for your heart, wisdom for your mind, courage for your trials, and strength for your journey. So be of good cheer, for I am with you always. All right. Any other thoughts? Anybody to share any thought before we do the quiz?